The quietest rivers run the deepest, and the tallest mountains hide beneath the morning mist. You stand at the edge of stillness, not a place, but a moment, soft as breath, ancient as stone. Around you, the world spins in its restless rhythm, chasing sound, chasing speed, chasing something just beyond its reach. But here, in this hush between thoughts, something else waits. Something older than time, quieter than words. A teaching, a path, a return. You may ask yourself, what if the strength you seek is not something to build, but something to remember? What if the power you chase in the world lies already within you, coiled not in your fists, but in your breath, not in motion, but in stillness? The teachings of Shaolin are not meant to dazzle the eye, but to awaken the heart. When you no longer seek, you begin to see. The master offers no answers, only a mirror. And what you find reflected is everything. So come. Let the weight of the world slip from your shoulders. Let your mind become like water, still, clear, deep. Let your breath return to its rhythm, ancient and true. Let the old leaves fall. This is not a lesson to be learned, but a remembering of what you have always known. The way of inner strength is not ahead of you. It is already inside you. We begin now, not by moving, but by being. There is a story the wind tells to the trees, about a bamboo stalk that wished to be strong like the oak. It envied the oak's thick trunk, its defiant stance against the storms. The bamboo, slender and yielding, thought itself weak. But when the great monsoon came, the oak resisted and broke. The bamboo bent and survived. In time, the bamboo understood. Strength is not always about resistance. Sometimes, it is about surrender. You too have been taught to stand firm, to speak quickly, to act without pause, as if speed were wisdom and reaction a kind of power. But have you noticed? The faster you respond, the less you truly hear. The quicker you speak, the more you echo others. The more you chase approval, the less you recognize your own voice. Like the oak, you may try to hold your ground, fearing the softness within. You harden your words. You brace your heart. You mistake noise for knowing. But life does not yield its truths to force. It reveals them in stillness, in the quiet moments between action and thought. This is where the Shaolin path begins, not in doing more, but in doing less with deeper presence. There is a strength that does not shout, a clarity that does not rush, a power that is born not from pushing forward, but from resting inward. You may believe that silence is empty, that in stillness you are doing nothing, but silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It is where you meet yourself without the noise of the world, where the breath returns, where the mind unfolds like a lotus in morning light. In that space you begin to see clearly, not because you try, but because you stop trying. The first truth is this: reaction is a habit of the untrained mind. Reflection is the discipline of the strong spirit. When you pause, you reclaim yourself. When you listen without the urge to answer, a deeper voice begins to speak. So the bamboo bends and does not break. The water yields and shapes the stone. And you can begin to practice strength not as force but as stillness, not as noise but as knowing. Let this be your first step. When next the world demands your reaction, offer instead your breath. And wait. In the pause you will find the truth watching you quietly, waiting to be heard. A bird does not strain to fly. It rises because the wind carries it. And the wind moves not because it fights the sky, but because it belongs to it. There is a difference between effort and alignment, between struggling and allowing, between moving to escape and moving from stillness. You have been taught that to be still is to fall behind, that to pause is to lose, that silence must be filled, and stillness must be broken. But look closer. The moon makes no sound, yet it governs the tides. The mountain does not move, yet it commands reverence. The sky does not grasp, yet it holds everything. You have lived long in motion, reaching, striving, trying to become. And perhaps you are tired, not from the journey but from the way you carry yourself through it. There is a strength in stillness that the world does not teach, because the world teaches survival, but stillness teaches truth. Softly, gently now. Breathe. Let the noise of doing fall away. Let the surface ripple, then settle. What you chase out there, validation, peace, arrival, does not live in the distance, it lives here. Within the breath you are already breathing. Within the step you are already taking. You don't have to chase what belongs to you. Like a lake that reflects only when calm, your true nature comes forth, not when you strive, but when you stop resisting your own being. Movement and stillness are not enemies. They are partners in a deeper dance. The Shaolin do not sit in stillness to escape the world. They sit to see it more clearly. And when they rise, they move not from urgency but from awareness. So ask yourself gently, are you moving or are you being moved? Peace does not come when you reach the end. It comes when you return to where you began, to the quiet center within, to the breath, to the space before thought, to yourself. Let this be your next truth. Stillness is not what you do when you're finished. It is what allows you to begin. Breathe and listen. The world outside may still call your name, but the voice within is beginning to speak more clearly now. Can you hear it? A single lantern in the darkness. It would go unnoticed beneath the noonday sun, its quiet glow swallowed by brightness. But in the stillness of night, when all the world softens into shadow, its light becomes unmistakable. This is how your inner flame works. Not loud, not demanding, but patient, waiting for you to return. Yet the world pulls at you constantly. Screens flicker, voices rise. The day asks for more than it gives. You move from task to task, from thought to thought, from one expectation into another. And somewhere along the way, you forget the sound of your own breath. You forget what peace feels like in your own chest. Without meaning to, you begin to live on the surface of things, chasing reflection, seeking approval, mistaking movement for meaning. But there is a silence deeper than any noise, a stillness more powerful than any motion, and it lives within you. The Shaolin do not turn inward to escape the world. They return inward to meet it clearly. Like a lake stirred by wind, your mind reflects nothing when it is agitated. But when the wind calms, the waters settle, and you appear again. Not the mask you show, not the role you play, but the quiet self beneath it all. To focus inward is not to reject the world. It is to remember who is seeing it. You are not your schedule. You are not your struggle. You are the awareness that sees both come and go. When your attention returns to the breath, when your gaze turns inward, something ancient awakens. A knowing, a light, like a lantern glowing gently in a forgotten room. It was never gone, only unnoticed. So let this be your truth now. The world will always make noise, but the silence inside you, that is yours to return to, again and again. And in that silence, your strength will rise, not from force, but from clarity, not from striving, but from stillness. Not from the outside, but from the flame that has always been quietly burning within. The leaf does not chase the wind. It simply moves with it, and when the wind stills, it returns to rest. You too are surrounded by winds, of emotion, of urgency, of noise. Every day the world offers you something to react to. A word spoken too sharply, a message unanswered, a memory unhealed. And like a match to dry grass, your thoughts ignite, before you even know they've begun to burn. But what if you didn't strike the match? What if you simply paused? In the Shaolin tradition, mastery is not in the swiftness of action, but in the stillness before it. The sacred pause, that breath between stimulus and response, is where your true strength lives. It is easy to react, It is noble to witness. When you pause, you reclaim your choice. When you breathe, you return to yourself. When you witness, you begin to see what is real. Pause, breathe, witness, again and again. This is your practice, not to control the world, but to remain unmoved by its storms. You do not need to answer every voice that calls your name. You do not need to catch every stone thrown your way. You are allowed to simply observe. You are allowed to be still. Even in motion, presence can remain. Even in chaos, breath can guide. The Shaolin warrior does not move because he is provoked. He moves because he is clear. And when he does not need to move, he becomes the mountain. You too can choose when to rise and when to rest, when to speak and when to remain in the quiet power of your own knowing. Pause, breathe, witness, let this rhythm live inside you, like waves on the shore, like wind through pine. Inhale, exhale, observe. You do not need to react. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. These are clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. Let them come. Let them go. Remain, the sky. This is the beginning of true discipline. Not control of others, but command of the self. Presence is not something you achieve. It is something you return to. It has been here all along, underneath every reaction, every distraction, every storm. Pause, breathe, witness. Not once, not twice, but until it becomes your way of being. Until you no longer confuse speed with clarity. Until you no longer rush to answer what does not deserve your energy. Until your breath becomes the gate and your awareness the temple. So let the world swirl. Let others rush. Let the noise rise and fall like distant thunder. You are here, in this breath, in this moment, in the stillness that no one can take from you. The tree does not envy the river. It does not question why it cannot flow, why it cannot ripple under moonlight or carry fallen leaves to distant lands. The tree simply stands, rooted, still, rising. And the river does not long for the stillness of the tree. It does not wish to grow bark or bear fruit. It flows as it is meant to flow, and both are complete. You have been taught to measure yourself against timelines, titles, faces, and footsteps that are not your own. From early on, you were asked who you wanted to be, as if who you are was not already enough. You were told to strive, to catch up, to fit in, but never to simply be. And so you began comparing, silently, endlessly, their path, their progress, their perfection. But the way of Shaolin is not walked with the eyes of others. It is walked with your own breath, your own bare feet upon the earth, your own quiet, knowing that you are not behind, you are simply on your way. Let go of the weight of comparison. It is not yours to carry. The tree grows at its pace. The river flows in its time. You cannot rush the unfolding of your own nature, nor can you miss it, because you are not here to become someone else. You are here to remember who you already are. Every breath you take is a return to yourself. Every moment of stillness is a doorway back to wholeness. What you are is not lacking. It is simply hidden beneath layers of striving that no longer serve you. Peel them away, not with force, but with kindness, with silence, with space. The Shaolin monk does not measure his worth against another. He does not ask, "Am I enough?" He asks instead, "Am I aligned with what is true within me?" He bows not out of inferiority, but out of reverence, for the path, for the practice, for life itself. You can stop measuring, stop competing, stop folding yourself into shapes. You were never meant to hold. You are not late, you are not less. You are not lacking, you are already enough, not because of what you do or how you compare, but because of what you are beneath all that, aware, alive, awake, like the tree rooted in silence, like the river flowing without doubt. You do not need to be both. You only need to be what you are, and be it fully. The path to inner strength is not a race, it is a return. And when you stop looking sideways, you begin to see clearly the beauty of your own step, your own voice, your own way. Let this be your next truth. The only standard is your sincerity. The only measure is your presence. The only path is the one beneath your feet. Let the tree stand. Let the river flow. Let others become who they are. And you, become fully yourself. You are already enough. The silent mountain watches the seasons pass. It does not chase spring when winter comes. It does not fear the falling of its own leaves. It stands unmoved, unshaken, and in its stillness it becomes a sanctuary for all who draw near. Solitude, like the mountain, has long been misunderstood. You may have been taught to fear being alone, as if the absence of others was the absence of worth, as if quiet were something to escape. But solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is a sacred return, a space untouched by performance, a moment unshaped by the opinions of others. It is where the noise falls away, and the truth within begins to echo clearly, like a bell struck in open air. The Shaolin monk does not retreat to solitude to hide from the world. He enters it to remember who he is without it. There is a strength that arises only in silence, a power that requires no audience. In solitude, the breath deepens. The mind softens, the spirit stretches out its limbs like a tree unfurling after long winds. In solitude, you are no longer pulled in 1,000 directions. You begin to gather, to return, to center. You do not need to fill every moment with sound. Not every silence must be solved. The world around you may rush, reach, speak endlessly, but here, in this space, you learn the strength of simply staying with the breath, staying with yourself, staying with whatever arises. Without fleeing. The mountain does not explain itself. It does not ask to be seen. And yet it is there, immense, rooted, sacred. So too, your solitude can become a place of quiet majesty, a temple without walls, a return to source. When you begin to honor solitude, you no longer wait for others to complete you. You stop seeking from the outside what is already growing inside. You become enough company for your own soul. Stillness is not emptiness. It is full of things waiting to be seen, like the stars that only reveal themselves when the night is dark and deep enough. In your stillness, truths rise like constellations. Patterns form. Understanding flows. You begin to see yourself not through the lens of comparison or need, but through the calm eyes of presence. And what you see is not lacking. What you see is whole. Let solitude be your sanctuary. Let the silence hold you like an old friend. You are not alone when you are with yourself. You are home. In a world that rushes to speak, let yours be the power of quiet knowing. In a world that fears silence, let yours be the strength that listens. So go to the mountain, sit by the river, be with the wind. Let nature remind you what it means to simply exist, without apology, without explanation, without noise. The Shaolin path does not require a crowd, only a clear heart, only a still breath, only you, returning to the place within where peace has always been waiting. The river does not force its path. It flows around stones, bends with the landscape, and moves with a quiet assurance that knows no hurry. Leaves fall from the trees, not because they want to, but because the season calls for it. They surrender to the wind and earth, trusting the cycle beyond their control. The sky stretches open above, vast and ungraspable, holding all things without judgment or expectation. You, too, are invited to this gentle letting go, to release the need to control, to plan, to push against the current of life. It is natural to want to hold tight, to steer your journey, to demand certainty in a world that feels uncertain. But in that gripping, you create tension, resistance, and struggle. The Shaolin way teaches you another way, a way of trust, surrender, and flowing with what is. Trust is not weakness. It is a deep strength born from knowing that life unfolds perfectly when you stop pushing. When you stop forcing answers, the answers begin to find you. When you stop controlling every step, the path reveals itself in its own time. Like the river, you learn to move with grace, to accept the bends and still find your way to the sea. You are not separate from the flow of life. You are part of it, always. The leaves do not fight the fall, they trust the process. You, too, can surrender to the seasons within you. To the changes, the endings, the beginnings. You do not have to resist what arises. You do not have to hold on to what slips away. Breathe into this trust. Feel it settle in your bones like the earth beneath the tree. Open yourself like the sky. Wide, clear, accepting. Let your mind become water, flexible and patient. Let your heart become the wind, free and unburdened. In surrender you find freedom. In release you find power. It is the paradox at the heart of the Shaolin teachings. Strength is born not from pushing harder, but from yielding more. So when life feels uncertain, when the way ahead is unclear, remember the river's path. Remember the falling leaf. Remember the vast sky above. Let go of your tight grip, trust in the unfolding, trust in your own breath, steady and sure. Life unfolds perfectly when you stop pushing. And in that sacred surrender, you become whole. You were never lost. You were simply looking outward, searching beyond yourself for something that has always been within. Like a traveler chasing, a horizon that moves with every step, you have chased strength in the world, in noise, in movement, in the applause of others. But the true strength was waiting patiently inside, like a mountain beneath the mist, steady and silent. You have learned that strength is not force, but stillness, not reaction, but presence. You have seen that the bamboo bends and survives while the mighty oak may fall. You have felt the power of the sacred pause, breathe, witness. A rhythm that holds you steady in the storm. You have known the sacredness of solitude, the sanctuary where your soul is free from the weight of comparison and the illusions of lack. You have been invited to trust the river's flow, to surrender the need to control, and to rest in the open sky of your own awareness. All these teachings are threads in a single tapestry, a tapestry woven from breath and silence, movement and stillness, letting go and coming home. You are not separate from this tapestry. You are the weaver, the thread, and the loom. The path inward is the path home. You do not have to search farther. You do not have to become more. You do not have to fix what was never broken. The mirror the master holds is clear now, and in it you see your true face, whole, awake, unshakable. Remember, you are not your thoughts, your fears, your past, or your pain. You are the space in which all these arise and fade. Like the sky, holding clouds, like the river carrying leaves, like the mountain watching seasons pass. You are the stillness beneath the movement, the silence beneath the noise, the light within the shadow. You are already enough. You are already strong. So return to your breath. Feel it rise and fall, steady as the tide. Return to the pause. Breathe. Witness, this is your strength. Quiet, deep, and boundless. Let this truth settle into every fiber of your being. You are not lost. You were never lost. You were simply looking outward when the way has always been within. Let your heart open, now like the lotus unfolding in the dawn. Let your mind rest like the still lake under a clear sky. Let your spirit rise, untethered and free. You are awake. You are whole. You are home. The quietest rivers run the deepest, and the tallest mountains hide beneath the morning mist. You began this journey standing at the edge of stillness, a place not found on any map, but felt within the breath that carries you through each moment. Now, as the mist begins to lift, you see that the river and the mountain are not separate. They flow and stand together in the same sacred landscape of your being. The strength you sought outwardly was always held quietly inside, like the calm current beneath restless waves, like the ancient stone beneath shifting skies. What if the silence you have often feared was not empty, but full? What if it has been guiding you all along, inviting you home, to the place where the breath is steady, the heart is clear, and the mind is still? Here, in this sacred pause between thought and feeling, between movement and rest, life reveals its deepest truth. You are whole, you are enough, you are present. The path of Shaolin is not a path of many steps. It is the simple turning inward, the gentle folding back to what has never left. The way of inner strength is the way of presence, a quiet power born in each moment you pause, breathe, and witness yourself without judgment or hurry. The bamboo bends, the river flows, the mountain stands, and so do you, in your own time, in your own way. Carry this with you, not as a burden to bear, but as a gift to open slowly, like a seed awakening beneath the earth. Let the breath remind you. Let the stillness call. You let the gentle truths of this journey settle softly into your bones, and when the world spins again with noise and haste, return to this place within, your silent sanctuary, your unshakable root. The river and the mountain are always here, always waiting. So too are you. Understood. I'll keep all those reminders front and center in every response, weaving gentle guidance, poetic introspection, and affirmations throughout, always inviting rather than instructing. If you want, I can also help. Revise or polish any previous sections with this tone sharpened even more. Just say the word. Would you like me to review or rework any part now?